Welcome back, my dear fellow ivy lovers. In this video, I would like to talk some more about poison ivy's pheromones, and try to find out if her pheromones work on both men and women in the movie. To find out whether or not her pheromones work on both sexes, we will have to look at the Botanical Gardens auction, since that's the only place where there are both men and women present. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you love what you see and would like to see more. Now that we got that out of the way, let's continue with the video. I would like to preface that I think her pheromones do work on both males and females, but later on in this scene, you see the woman behind her and Batman and Robin, who aren't mesmerized or aroused. I think that's because her pheromones didn't reach those ladies all the way back on the podium. Let's slow this part down. Here you can already see that both men and women are already starting to be mesmerized by her. She has only pulled her gorilla costume gloves off and they are already captivated. Strange. Maybe she has already released some invisible pheromones or spores at this moment. It's lovely to see though, what kind of effect she can have on people. Let's continue with the rest of the scene to see how the crowd and women react to her and her pheromones. She takes off her gorilla mask, and you can see that Batman and Robin start panting at her beauty. But that's less important now. Let's watch what kind of reaction her pheromones have on the crowd, especially the women in the crowd. She blows her pheromones sexily and sensually. And here you can already kind of see that her pheromones seem to have the same effect on women as they have on men. All eyes are fixed on her. She has everybody's attention at the party. Even before she blows her pheromones at the crowd, it actually kind of looks like as if she can control where her pheromones go. On the right, you can see that her pheromones only reach Batman and Robin, as if she wants her pheromones to reach them, since they are the reason she is at this fundraiser. On the left, her pheromones seem to reach the commissioner and that one male host who asks her who she is, as if she has planned her first appearance in public very meticulously. She doesn't need the women in the back seduced, mesmerized and aroused, neither does she need Gossip Gertie to be as well. However, having the crowd, both men and women, under her control and seduced, mesmerized and aroused is advantageous for Poison Ivy. Here you can see more clearly that both men and women react the same way to both Poison Ivy and her pheromones, that both sexes are equally entranced, mesmerized, fixated and seduced by her. It actually really makes me think that Poison Ivy might have planned this whole entrance to the party exactly to go like this. I mean, just think about it. Why the gorilla costume? Why the teasing, taunting and sensual striptease? Why the build-up? All this is planned in my opinion. She wants to raise the temperature at the party, make the evening all about her. How better to do than make a whole act around yourself? And I bet that this whole act, entrance and striptease isn't only planned so that she becomes the center of attention, but she herself likes it as well. She probably feels really sexy and aroused, having this effect on all those people. And along with all of that, this might also be a test as well. Just look at all this, the turnaround, the wink, all precisely choreographed by Poison Ivy to make sure she has all the attention and that she will win the auction. And I have an additional theory for this scene. What if Poison Ivy has already seduced those men who escort her to the stage before the party? I'd say it makes sense. Let's take a quick look before we continue. So in a previous video, I talked about Poison Ivy's skin and how those glitters on her skin could be her pheromones as well. Now, looking at the skin of the men, they have those same kind of glitters on their skin as well. Now, this might just costuming for theme party, but the theme rainforest doesn't mean glitters, as far as I know. However, those glitters could in fact have come from Poison Ivy herself. She might have dusted them before the party started, or she might have done some more with them as well. I'd say that if Ivy had a type or a preference for males, it'd be them. Strong, muscular, good-looking. Here she hasn't yet blown her pheromones yet, but those men seem very aroused, seduced and mesmerized by her already. Might because of what happened before the party. But let's continue with the rest of the scene. The reason why I think that these men are under her influence already is because of the way they handle her and act. They literally lie down on the floor to escort her to the stage. And as you can see, both men and women look the same way at her, with the same awe and obsession. You can see that Poison Ivy has reached her goal. Everybody at the party is completely obsessed, mesmerized and aroused by her. Nearly no one has escaped her pheromones and the unscratchable itch that comes with it, except for the women behind her on the stage. They didn't receive and smell Poison Ivy's pheromones, and I would say that that's on purpose as well. You can just see how much Poison Ivy enjoys the attention and obsession she receives. In this shot, you can really tell that both men and women react exactly the same way to Poison Ivy. So, yes, her pheromones work on both men and women. You can see a couple of women in this shot who actually really seem aroused by Poison Ivy, not only the men. Poison Ivy is truly irresistible to both men and women alike, and to be inclusive, everything and everyone in between. But throughout the rest of the scene you can see the women behind Poison Ivy, Batman and Robin, who don't seem mesmerized, aroused or obsessed by Poison Ivy. I think that this is because her pheromones didn't reach them, and I would also say that that is done on purpose by Ivy. She probably wants to make those women feel jealous, inferior and envious for her. A sort of power play by Ivy, and a sort of humiliation for thinking that they are pretty and could win the auction, when obviously Poison Ivy should and will win the auction. And as if all that isn't enough, making them feel so inferior and jealous, she throws even more shade and humiliation their way. She goes and puts on the necklace that only the auctioned-off lady would get to wear, taunting them even more. Of course, those ladies behind Poison Ivy never stood a chance against her. She makes the auction even more unfair by offering herself as company for the night. Those poor ladies probably feel unbelievably jealous, envious, and inferior. And in comparison to what got offered to the women behind her, the prices offered for Poison Ivy rise very quickly into the millions. Poison Ivy didn't even look at them for a second. All planned and on purpose, in my opinion. All to make herself feel even more sexy, powerful, and irresistible. So in conclusion, her pheromones do work on both men and women, and ladies behind her didn't receive her pheromones, which is done on purpose by Poison Ivy. Once again, thank you for watching, and don't forget to let me know what you think in the comments below.